Dude, that intro never gets old. I love it.
It's a lot.
This is James grabbing the brisket. Hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We have an awesome interview planned for you guys. We'd like to welcome in Sean Hill with
Texas Moonswiners.
Yeah. And so, Sean, you have a nice little, I guess, organization going on that's something that John had just brought to my attention earlier when we got you booked on. This high school competition. Tell us a little bit about that. Or first, let us know a little bit about yourself.
All right, fantastic, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on. Yeah, this is probably what you'd call the dream job. I've been a teacher and coach for over a decade, and in Texas, football is a big deal. And I had the opportunity to walk away from the gridiron to start working on the grill iron, and I was able to start this past year a high school competition barbecue team. And I've been competing and catering with the Texas Moonswiners on the personal side outside of teaching and coaching. And I was able to start the club in Rockwall this past year. And the 205 Pitmasters were born. And the reason we came up with the 205 Pitmasters for the high school name is because Rockwall is made up of two high schools. One's on the north side of 30 and one's on the south side of 30. And the highway that connects the two halves of the city is Highway 205. And so just thought that was a pretty cool thing, because the Gene Burton Academy where I teach is like the STEM Academy, where students from both high schools attend to do engineering, robotics, architecture, animation, business, and all those type of classes. And so I have two teams this year that consist of members from both of the high schools. And so it's a pretty neat thing that we've got going on.
Very cool. Very cool. And so you're teaching and mentoring these kids in all aspects of a competition barbecue, which you've had a lot of experience in, right? Running with the Texas Moonswiners.
A couple buddies of mine that have been good friends for years. I mean, you all know barbecue's about friends and family and hanging out and football and, drinking the beer too and barbecuing. And everybody said they liked our food. And so we decided we would try to enter a couple of competitions, and we did and had some success. And then I kind of got into catering a little bit. And every Sunday at church, the principal of the high school would be at church, and I'd be like, hey, you thought about starting the high school barbecue club? And probably for about a year, I bugged him and had the opportunity to talk to one of the assistant principals that I'd had before at another campus. And he said, man, we've been trying to get that started for a couple of years now. And I said, well, I know a guy. And I switched campuses the next year, and we got it rolling. Man,
that's awesome. That's awesome. That's some of the feedback we've gotten is, and I looked on y'all's on the site there, and I saw the different competitions that y'all are going to, the different schools or different areas that are hosting those competitions. I think it's what it looks like to me, anyways. But a lot of questions we've gotten is, how do you get your local district involved with something like this? You got to go to them and bug them. Say, hey, can you get a teacher for this, or can you get an outside organization or a club created for this? So is that something that you've seen? Are you helping that? Or?
It's an extra duty, just like coaching, football would be. Unfortunately, I don't have a class where I actually teach barbecue, so it's outside of the school day when I'm bringing these kids back in to do it. But it's with the Texas High School BBQ Inc., who we go through. They have the school district has a sponsor that's a teacher, and that teacher can be as involved like I am and run the whole thing. Or they can be like some of the other high schools that we compete against, where the teacher is just basically the sponsor that chaperones the kids, and then they have other people from the outside that come in and help. And we've been blessed. We've had Cody Mullen with Smoking Aces Barbecue. He's been the IBCA president for Region 1, and has just started Outlaw Barbecue Association. He's been working with us for the last 2 years. But I have a love for barbecue, and I really like doing it. So I reach out to him, and he helps me out with stuff. But we rock and roll with it where, in other instances, you just have to have a sponsor that's a teacher. And then if that teacher doesn't want to be that involved, if one of these other, one of the barbecue places or competition team wants to come and help run the show, then that's just kind of how it works.
Nice. So when these competitions are held, I'm assuming the whole setup, right? You set up, you've got a timetable. It's like a general competition that I'm used to going to and working and performing in. These kids, so they're pulling the meat out, they're going through the timetables, they're doing the trimmings, injections. How does that kind of work?
Yeah. I definitely like to learn the kind of like the meat and potatoes of like how does the day begin?
Absolutely.
One of these competitions.
The day began actually the day before. So it is required with the league that we're in that we have to attend the Cooks meeting on Friday night. So wherever we're traveling, we went to Graham in November to the very first regional. We're going to Katy, Texas on March the 11th and 12th, and then we'll be down at the state because we've already qualified for state on April 29th and 30th. So we have to show up on Friday, and we drop off our smoker and kind of get just a rough basic setup of where we want our tables to be, our canopies and all that kind of stuff. We drop everything, make sure we've got everything, go through and just do a double check of inventory to make sure that if we need to make a run to Walmart or wherever to grab something last minute, we can. And then they typically will do like a 30-minute educational class, like fire management or, trimming or seasoning, or it just, depending on who, is going to be there at that particular competition. And so the kids will go and they have a chance to get some last minute tips and learn something maybe that we haven't gone over. And then they have a cooks meeting where they go over all the rules of the competition, turn in times, what they have to turn in, how many slices of briskets and ribs, how thick the brisket can be, which way the chicken has to face when you put it in the box, dessert, beans, all of that stuff. We go over that, and then typically we'll go and we'll have dinner and just kind of make sure everybody's okay. Everybody understands the game plan that we worked on, leading up to that. And then we're up at probably 3:45 the next morning and leaving the hotel by 4:15, 4:30, because we've got to be back on site the next morning at by 5 o'clock. Now, that's not mandatory, but you can start your fires at 5 o'clock. And if it's November or January and it's cold, it takes a while to get those pits heated up. So we try to get there as early as possible, light the fire as quickly as possible. Then the kids have to go, and on Friday night they also have to draw numbers to see what order the teams pick the meat. And so then the kids have to go up there in the order that they drew and pick out the best brisket, the best ribs, the best chicken. At 6 o'clock, coaches have to get out of the 20 by 20 or 20 by 30 area, depending on what they give us. And from that point on, if I lean over that line that they've got roped off, then I can get my team disqualified, because it's typically just the kids and only the kids, and they're doing all the work. They're doing the trimming, the injections, they're doing the seasoning and all the cooking. Only time that we're allowed to get in there is if something happens and there's a medical emergency. But other than that, we're outside. And this year they take it a step further. At state, we have to stay 20 feet away from the roped off area. So that's a new rule this year. So I won't even be where I can look at or point to or make suggestions, because I'm going to be 20 feet away, and they're going to have to be able to do it on their own.
Yeah, you can't eagle eye that or throw up a little sign or so like,
sign language.
Check the fire.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the things that we work on. We do practice cooks, and we have a spreadsheet with timelines, just kind of like you'd see at a football practice where they've got the clock running, and when the buzzer goes off, you switch to different drill or whatever. It's the same type of deal that we practice. Is we have our timesheet, and everybody's got their job, and everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. Kids are putting the alarms in their phones so that it lines up with our sheet. And typically I'm on the outside with the same sheet, and I'm watching it as well and yelling out, hey, have you checked the fire? Hey, what's your temperature? Or hey, we've got to get those beans started. And so it's just it's crazy. Saturday is a long day. It goes from 3:45 when we wake up, and brisket turn in is at 3 in the afternoon, and then wards are after that. And so it's a long day, and you have to have everything in order and in place, and know what you're going to be doing, because there's no time to try to figure it out at that point.
Right.
That's freaking awesome.
I love this. I absolutely. If they'd had something like this, I mean, I played sports in junior high and then all throughout high school, but I don't know if I would have continued to play. I think I probably would have swapped over at some point. You know,
Right.
I mean, I love cooking that much. I love barbecuing that much, and is this something, especially if y'all come to Katy or something like that, is this something that we could, because we're outside of Houston, not much though, we're on the south side. Is that something that we can we go out there and see y'all? Can we,
Absolutely.
judge or something?
I mean, they have people, news stations that are local that come out and talk to the kids and talk to the coaches and come out and do stories. And they're always looking for judges. It's not a certified judge type deal. They give you a scorecard. They tell you how to score things, and they get the local people in the area to come and eat the food and judge it. And they welcome people coming. I think last year at state, Dave Campbell's came out, and because they had a team that was kind of local to where one of their guys that do their thing was at, and so they came out there and kind of followed them and did the story on them. And I mean, yeah, it's open to the public. It's encouraged to come out to support the kids, get some food, and see how everything goes. Because it's a really neat thing to see. 50, 60 at state. There'll probably be about 150 in Round Rock at Dell Diamond at the baseball field. Probably about 150 teams out there all competing.
Nice.
That's awesome. So what cuts of meat are you guys doing at these competitions? Is it like IBCA style or what do we got going?
Yeah, it's really close to IBCA style. So we have a dessert turn-in that's typically 9 or 9:30, depending on the amount of teams. Then we have beans that are 10 or 10:30. Chicken is at 12. Ribs, which are your St. Louis cut or full spare ribs, no baby backs, are at 1:30, and then brisket is at 3.
Yeah, sounds like IBCA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So
and another neat thing about us is that last year we didn't have a smoker, and it was kind of a weird year with the whole COVID thing, and everything was virtual or hybrid for us, and competitions got canceled. We had a snowstorm in February. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Snowpocalypse. We remember it well.
That then wiped out a competition that we were supposed to go out as well too, and finally got to compete. And because of everything, the way it happened, our ag department had enough time, even with the limited number of kits that they had, because most of them were virtual, was able to build us a pit from the ground up. And so it was pretty cool. We got that pit like literally the week before we were going to go to Munster, Texas and compete. And, the kids did great. I mean, it was a very cool learning experience for them to get that very first one in. I'm not going to lie, we didn't do very well, but the cool thing about the way the High School Barbecue Inc. is set up is that they take the top 10 teams to state. And so if let's say you go to the first competition and you qualify for state, but you want to continue to cook. So you can continue to go to the next competition and the next one. But if you go and compete again, and let's say you make top 10 again, and there was a team that hasn't made in the top 10, they pull your name up, slide everybody down, and then those top 10 teams that haven't qualified get to go. So we were able to go to state because of that. But then we got down to state and they kicked butt. I mean, we finished top 10 in brisket, 9th place in brisket, 11th place in ribs, and 19th in chicken. And those kids had literally cooked 3 times, once on my personal smoker and twice on that pit. And it was cool. And then that turned into what we have this year, and that's 2 teams. Started out with 13 kids. Now we have 10, 2 solid teams. Both teams qualified for state at the first competition in Graham. We took first place in brisket, second place in chicken, third place in ribs. And of the 10 things that we turned in, 5 categories for each team, 7 out of the 10 made top 10. So it's awesome.
That
You're doing something right.
Yeah, definitely. That's freaking fantastic. And a lot of people that are listening along that may not be in the competition world or just a fan of just backyard cooking and all that stuff like that. They don't understand how challenging that can be just for an adult to do a competition. the meat, the timetables, the
Stressful.
It's so stressful. And for
with the elements too, right? You're dealing with the elements.
Correct.
It rains, it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to get that pit lit, keep the temperature locked in. You can't have this up and down, right? So
correct, yeah. Hey, kudos to the kids out there. I mean, I'm really impressed, and I'm really happy about that. I mean, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really neat, and that's one of the things that we stress, not just the competition style too. I mean, because I don't want those kids thinking that's the only way to cook. So we also, whenever we meet and have our practice cook, we talk about backyard style versus the competition and how it's just a little bit different. Because what I want those kids to go out on the weekend and cook something that their mom and their dad, their brothers and sisters that they love. I want them to have this, this skill, this know how to manage a fire, know how to watch the temperatures, know how to, what the temperature needs to be when we wrap or don't wrap or whatever you're going to do with it, however your fat's side up or down or where your heat source is from and all that mess. Be able to go and just take the things that we talk about and be able to apply them in their own lives, because it's a skill you'll never lose. I mean, I can still throw a football, but that's not going to get me anywhere. But I know how to cook a brisket, and I've made money off cooking briskets, and now I'm teaching kids how to make brisket, and it's something they're going to be able to have forever. And that to me is that's the most awesome thing.
Oh, of course. I could not agree more. Let me ask you a question. When you're, I know this is on you a lot too, right? Because you're coaching, you're mentoring these kids, and this is your personal time, right? I mean, this is not during school hours. I know you said that earlier. I just want to make sure people hear that. This is your personal time that you're putting out there.
This is not during the school. Now, I have heard that TEA has an approved curriculum for brisket and barbecue. And so I've been working on my principle to try to implement that, because it is hard. I mean, the extra hours, you can cook a chicken after school. You can cook beans after school. Yep. We can cook desserts after school, but like the ribs and the brisket, that's not just an after school event. That's a whole Saturday that we have to take. And that's why we'll practice trimming, on Mondays and Tuesdays. We'll trim briskets, we'll trim chicken, we'll trim our ribs down, and we'll go over our recipes and make beans or make dessert. But we have to do a full Saturday, in February. It's a mandatory practice cook, and everybody's going to be at the school at 5 a.m. on a Saturday, regardless, like you said, of the weather. If it's raining, doesn't matter. If it's cold and windy, it doesn't matter. We're going to show up at 5 a.m. They're going to have to light their fires, and then they're going to be cooking, and I'm going to keep them on the timetable, and we're going to do a mini competition between our two kids. And I've got our principal and our superintendent and a couple of other members of the community that are going to come out, and they're going to judge it and give them the opportunity to be able to practice cooking those 5 or 6 hours on the ribs and the 6 and 7 hours on the brisket to make sure that they've got it down. Because I mean, we were close last year, and I know there was only 67 teams at state, and there's going to be twice as many this year, but we were pretty close. And the kids I've got this year are hungry. They're hungry, and they have this drive and this want to, and I mean, they're going to do it. They're going to have a really good showing, I believe, this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You mentioned that they got a custom built smoker for them. What kind of smoker are they running?
So our ag department a couple years ago was really big on they had some extra metal. This stuff was 3/8 to a 1/2 inch thick metal that got donated. And so our old ag teacher was like, let's build smokers. So they built all of these, oh my God, these things are so heavy. Double, there's 2 chambers. So they're like 48, they're 4 foot long, 5 foot long. And, they weigh thousands of pounds just because they're so thick metal, the reverse flow smokers. And for the sake of saving money, they put 2 of them on the trailer. They cut the ends off of one and flipped them around so that we could have 2 out-facing smokers. And so when we go to compete, one team, we basically put the line that separates the team down the middle of the smoker, and one team competes competes on one side and the other team competes on the other side. And they're perfect little competition smokers because, like I said, they just have two doors that open up and racks that slide out that can hold. I mean, if we filled it up, we could put 4 briskets on each side. I mean, max. It's not something huge, but it's perfect for what we need.
Are there any regulations as far as what type of smokers you can use?
You can use anything as long as it is wood fired or charcoal fired. You can't use pellet grills. You can use a rotisserie, but you can't use a gas assist rotisserie. Once you can use gas assist or the weed torches or whatever to get the fire going, but once the fire's lit, it has to be stay lit on their own. So if for some reason they're not paying attention to the fire and the fire goes out, well, they've got to go get a chimney starter now and get the coals lit and get that process started all over again. And can't just take the flame and fire it up and start the smoker back up. So the fire management it's a big thing we talk about and make sure that they understand.
Honestly, I love that, and I wish some of these competition organizations would kind of abide by that or go back to that, because we deal with a lot of I guess trying to skirt the rules. You know what I mean? Like they put rules out there saying, okay, you can only you have to have a wood burning fire, but it does not have any like specifications. Okay, well, I can plug this Traeger in. Yes, I am burning wood. Or I can plug this thing in, and I have some type of like assist coming in from some other area. It's still burning wood, but I have a little assistance coming in from propane or whatever. It's always something that we've talked about on the podcast and we've discussed in our just endeavors doing competitions, like getting back to just cooking with fire, being able to manage a fire. Is really
that's the biggest thing, right?
Pivotal, yeah. I mean, it will make or break your team, and I love that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to competitions where I've seen the guys pull in with $50,000 rigs and a $10,000 old hickory on the back of it, and dude pushes a couple buttons, puts his food in, and I don't see the guy till he's turning stuff in the next day. And me and my buddies are over there. We're sweating. We've been up all night. Everybody's mad at each other because they've been up and they're tired, and we've been having a little bit of good time. Now we've got to start thinking and start, making sure that we've got everything where we're supposed to be. And the guy wakes up and he comes out and he's stretching and he's looking refreshed, like there's no care. And I'm like, man, that's that's nice, but that's not the right way to do it, I don't think.
Yeah, I think he misses the point of what really grinding and really trying to work your pit. I think it's something you lose. It's just a loss for him personally, I think. Miss you a question. So is this something that can I know if you maybe answered this earlier and maybe I just have ADHD and didn't hear, hopefully not, but can we go to our local city? We're here in Pearland. Can we go here to Pearland High School and say, listen, we'd like to help or volunteer or get this going or help y'all get this going? Is this something that other people do, or do you assist with other school districts trying to get up and going, or how does that work?
Absolutely. I mean, if you know a teacher that's willing to sponsor the team on the school side of it, and that's just for the safety of the kids
Sure.
and for the liability of the school and all that, they've got to have somebody that's on the district that's kind of traveling with the team and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you know a teacher at the school district and you're like, hey, let's get this started up, and they will go and talk to their administration. It's formally a club. I run the barbecue club. And then you have to, it's just like any other club that you'd have. You get the kids in, they have to figure out who's going to be president, vice president. At least that's how we do it, in Rockwall. And then that way, any money that's being spent, that's been raised through fundraisers or donations, then they have to keep up with that, just like any other thing. And then for us, it's after school, and so people have come in and helped us trim stuff and donated meat and donated time and donated seasonings and other equipment, and kids will come in and we'll say, okay, today we're going to do chickens, and I'll pull out 3 or 4 chickens, and then we go to town working on, making sure we can spatchcock them correctly and we're not ripping the skin and getting up underneath and getting the fat out and, getting all the trimming and stuff done. And then we'll talk about injections and work on where we're going to inject, how we're going to inject. And, I've had other people from the community come and help us. And, it's a cool thing. I know one of my buddies on the IBCA circuit, he has a barbecue restaurant in Graham, and he's not a teacher, but he owns the restaurant, but he runs the whole thing and helps those kids out, and they come and they do cooking and all kinds of stuff. And then there's other couple of other ones that I've seen. I know I've seen Jack Cashman help out with a couple of schools, and then, like I said, Cody Mullen has helped us out with stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, if you have somebody that's on that side that's willing to work at, or at least take part of the responsibility of, okay, yeah, I'm going to give up a Saturday to be up at the school while y'all do a practice cook, or yeah, I'm going to travel to Katy, Texas, and make sure that the kids are chaperoned, then absolutely 100%.
Okay,
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to see.
And honestly, besides the most expensive part of it, and y'all know this because you're barbecue people, most expensive part of it's the meat.
Yeah.
The registration for the High School BBQ Inc. is $200 per team, and that gets you in there registered for their league. And then each competition is $200 per team for the event. But that money, of that $200, $150 of it goes to the host school to pay for the brisket, ribs, and chicken that they're going to provide for the teams.
Okay,
that's cool.
And how many kids per team do you usually have?
So the max number of kids that you have on a team is 5. And we've got 2 teams, Team Smoke and Team Fire. And like I said, we started off with about 13 kids, and then others just had, sports were more important. And I completely understand that. And culinary was more important, and that's cool. But I said, you can still come to practice if you want to learn something. You're just not going to, travel with us if you can't come to the practices. And, so we've got 10 dedicated guys that are ready to rock and roll. Last year I had 2 girls on the team. One of my girls had 11th place ribs at state, and the other girl cooked dessert. And I'm trying to get more, females to come out, just because, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's one of the best high school barbecue teams in the state is the Barbecuties, and it's a girls team.
Yep.
Well, that was actually one of the questions we got from one of our listeners was, are there any girls on the team? But you just answered that. It's perfect.
That's
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, no, last year we had 2, and I encourage it, and I'm hoping that next year, because I'd like to have a girls team and a boys team and, a team from each high school. I mean, I really want to grow this thing where I can't handle it to the point where I've got to get more help, because then that just means that I'm doing something right and these kids are interested in something, and it's a good thing.
So we got a question in from Jessica Hill. I don't know if that's related or not related to you, but what is your favorite meat to smoke and why? And I guess this kind of relates to the kids as well. What are their favorite meats to smoke?
So chicken is the devil. And I'll start off with that. It's not chicken. The chicken is the one thing that it seems like it should be the easiest, but it's not. And for me, brisket is my favorite. And I don't know if it's just because it takes so long and you put so much time into it and to put so much effort into it, where, if you screw it up, you've wasted a day or a day and a night. And so it takes that attention to detail, and it's just good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and I was like, it used to be even more enjoyable because I could go to Walmart and get a brisket for 76 cents a pound.
Oh yeah. I remember those days.
And and that wasn't that long ago, but those were the good old days. I said, now you're even a 12-pound brisket is going to cost you $80.
It's crazy.
And so you've got to, if you're going to put that time in there, and you've got to pay attention to it. You've got to make sure that you're doing the things right, watching your fire. And if you wrap at the right time and pulling it and letting it rest and letting it do its thing, because, it just, I guess that would be my favorite would be the brisket, but chicken is the devil. And there's always something that comes up with chicken. You always think you have enough time to cook it at competitions, and you never do. It seems like you should have put it on 15 minutes sooner every single time.
Right.
That's exactly right. And to be honest with you, one of the things that we had to do as a team was to really look at, divide and conquer a little bit, was to go, listen, you want your hands in everything. And that's probably the hardest thing, is letting go, going, hey, listen, I can't focus on prepping this chicken, getting this chicken on the timetables or anything else, and letting somebody else just own that whole process. I mean, everybody's working together to go, hey, if you need something, I can help you, but letting that go a little bit, because I think we're a team of head chefs, right? All on one team, and that's difficult sometimes, but we've learned how to navigate that a little bit and assign duties. And James tries to run everybody. He is a micro. He put the micro in micromanager. But no, you're exactly right. So, do the kids get involved with the meat science of it? How it breaks down. Is what's happening. With your brisket. And,
I mean, the different cuts of meats, the different muscles on the brisket. I mean, we had not too long ago, we had Jess Prowls on, which I think she's gone back to school for a second time to get another degree or certification on meat science. But yeah, do they get any of that education as far as the meat goes wise?
I try to, I'm no expert in it. I'm just a guy that had a neighbor that said he was lazy before he was cheap, and had bought a smoker and realized that it took too long to cook stuff on a smoker. So he gave it to me, and I got into it. And we had live oak trees, and so I'm burning sticks when I'm cooking my first cooks on this char griller that's paper thin. And I'm just somebody that's hooked on it. And I don't know everything, but I try to tell them everything that I do know. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why does it matter if the brisket's above 190 degrees? Well, that's because that's when your fat's starting to break down on the inside, and it has to stay in that temperature range until it gets to a certain range. And we don't want it to get too much, because then the fat's going to break down to the point where the brisket's falling apart. And why are we having to let it rest? Why does it have to be done at this time, so that we can let it rest for a minimum of an hour and a half before we start? Because it's got to reabsorb some of those juices, and the muscles tightening up and loosening, through the cook and the rest period. And, we talk about all that, and even with chicken, they freak out. And I'm like, just because that juice looks a little pink, that it's going to cook a little bit more. We don't want to, it's okay. It's at a temperature for a certain time frame. It's killed all the bacteria. Right. At 165, it kills it instantly. But at 155, as long as it's there for 10 seconds, it's going to kill it as well. So it's okay, and what we have to do to make sure that, because when they cut into it, where the thigh and where the thigh and the leg kind of come together in that joint. And if there's any red in there, then a lot of these judges freak out and get disqualified for it. And, how we have to make sure that, towards the end of the cook, we're turning the meat a little bit so that we can make sure that gets done, because this is where they're going to cut into, and we don't want to get a DQ on anything.
Right.
No, definitely. Yeah. That was always one of the things, me growing up as a kid, and maybe other kids have this same fear or phobia or whatever, but just seeing like the juices run out of a chicken, and you say, okay, well, it's clear, but there's a lot of juices coming out there.
That's a good thing.
As a kid, I was like, that's just not done. That's
not. Yeah.
I think that just needs to be cooked longer. And when I was going to probably through my 20s or so, I charred the shit out of chicken.
A lot of dry chicken.
Because I was just like, I don't know. I mean, it looks done, but I'm just going to cook it a little longer.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And then you start messing around with steaks, and you cut into a steak, and it's all medium or medium rare, and there's like these red liquids coming out, and it just, for me as a kid, I was like, nah, I'm not having that. Just go ahead and char it out. But you age and you grow, and you learn, like, okay, this is not actually what you thought it was. And thankfully, I was exposed to, and we all exposed to having these like thermal work pins to where we could sit there and just easily temp a piece of meat and go, okay, hey, 155 or 165, or we're going to have a little carryover. Hey, it's good. Pull it. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot of adults that are scared of any juices coming out of their meat.
That's
Oh
true.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
What about have y'all? So I know y'all are doing of course, the stick burning and whatever else. But is there the steak cook-off? Are y'all doing any of that as well or no?
So I haven't found a high school steak. I know that there is a program for middle school kids through the FFA, because I've talked to a couple of people that their kids are in a program and they're like the 7th, 8th graders, and they do like steak cooking. Now, I don't know anything about that. I just know that there's something. I know we don't do that in Rockwall, but there's something that I've gotten a little bit of information out, and like my goal for is obviously to grow my program, but my goal for this summer is to find out a little bit more and then see if that's something that I can bring to our middle schools, because we have 3 middle schools right now, and as kind of like a feeder to get them interested in wanting to do barbecue when they get in high school.
Perfect segue. We went out to Houston at the Houston Cookoff, and I don't know if you had a chance to come down to this or not and be a part of this cook-off out here, but it's crazy what they put on out here. And one of the coolest things they do the Kids Q steak cook-off, and you've got kids that are ranging probably, how old are some of these kids? They look like they're probably 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there.
Years old, and they're cooking on small little Weber's, Smoky Joe's or something, yeah. And they're pulling out. I'm not even joking you. It's serious. First of all, they're pulling out the duck fat.
The duck fat, yes.
They got timers, stopwatches. They know exactly how long they're putting them on for. They're getting perfect grill marks. I'm thinking, holy crap, this is serious, right? And the parents can't, the parents or the coaches or whatever's happening there, they're on the outside and they're talking to them, but these are kids that are doing their own charcoal, doing their own thing, and that's a perfect segue or feeder, because you get somebody passionate about doing that, and once you compete, and that's what I found this out. Once you compete one time, get a taste of it, get your name called up there, and it's so addicting at that point. You're hooked for life, right?
Yeah.
And heaven forbid you get first, right, or top 3. At that point, the bragging rights have already started. You know what I mean? And that's going to feed right into next year.
That's how you get hooked.
And that's it. We've gotten so many people that have come out to our cook-offs and have cooked with us, or drank with us. Not really cooked, but drank with us, and had a really good time. But when they see us doing all the walk, right, the walk up and getting those trophies, and I'm not saying we've been really lucky and we've been really fortunate, and our name has been called plenty of times out on the barbecue circuit, and they get involved with it. And we've had people that were out just visiting us at a barbecue cook-off and turn around and went out and bought pits and said, and next thing you know, we're competing against them next year. And, and then you partner with them a little bit, and it's just, it's a barbecue family, and that's something that you're doing at an early age. I really commend you, man. And it's like, again, this is your time. You're volunteering for this. So I think that'd be really cool if this thing got, as far as a TA or a classroom set up for this, because I can just, seeing how you could bring in instructors and having this not being an after hours thing, but in a class thing. Because at that point you could actually fire up a smoker in the day and have a smoke going on throughout the class periods or whatever. So
absolutely, because the way that you could work it, even if you had just a couple of double block classes, because we have block schedule in Rockwall. You could have your first class that works on getting the fire started and the trimming and the seasoning. Second class comes over, takes over the cook and does your fire management, and your third class of the day that comes in and pulls it off, lets it rest, trims it up, and then rotate it through until, everybody has a chance to do a little bit of everything. And, even if it's just, your freshman year kids, they get to do, trimming and all the monotonous grunt work of the prep. And then your sophomores and juniors get to work on fire. And then your seniors get to finish the cook and slice and all that stuff. There's lots of cool ideas that I have that I'd like to do with it. It's just, getting interest in it and getting the kids out there, and then, having success with it. And I think that was the biggest thing for us, is what kind of catapulted is we did have a little bit of a success last year. And then this year coming in and at the first competition, there was 19 teams. And I went through last year's rankings of how they ranked at state. And I believe 12. 12 of the 19 teams finished higher than us last year at state. And so overall, and so we got third place and got sixth place, and and then took brisket ribs and brisket chicken and ribs, and the kids are fired up. I mean, they're tired. And that Saturday drive back from Graham, Texas, which is 3.5 hours northwest of Rockwall, all the way back. I mean, people were happy, in a good mood. I mean, the tired had gone away. And, they were ready to do it again. And so that's exciting.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, that's the best part. So we do have a few more questions. Maybe we get through some of these real quick. Okay. This is from Janet Fincherball. She sent a couple of them. The first one was, what kind of wood are you guys using when you're smoking out there?
So it kind of really depends on the region. That got us at state last year. It was down in like South Central Texas and the Llano area, and 8 of the top 10 in brisket was using mesquite. And I'm a mesquite on my chicken fan, but I'm not a mesquite for my brisket or ribs or anything like that. That was a lesson learned, that if we were going to be back in that area, that we'd bring some mesquite chunks and at least throw them on there to kind of give that hint of what they like. When we go down to Katy and to Round Rock, we'll probably be cooking with post oak, and then more East Texas or North, we use pecan. And so with these competitions, I'm not really chasing flavor profiles, but I also know that they're bringing in local people to eat barbecue, and people that eat barbecue know what they like when they eat barbecue. And so if I can kind of give them a little bit of a taste of, for example, Salt Lick is right next to Del Diamond in Round Rock. Well, I'm going to do a little bit of research on Salt Lick, and we're going to probably take some of that flavors and those profiles and kind of bring it into what we do, because that's what people like that are in that area. That's going to help us out when it comes to the judging rounds in these competitions.
Yeah, that's super smart, actually.
Yeah, we've actually had Mo Case on.
Yeah.
You know who he is? Okay, so he was on the podcast, and he is a great guy, great mentor, and he'd be somebody actually probably to reach out to and at some point, and I bet he would even do a guest appearance or something. He's always giving back. Oh, cool. He's always doing that kind of stuff. But one of the lessons he learned was he went somewhere, and it was here in, I guess it was West Texas, and they did a cook-off, and he said the one thing that he learned from that was that if you didn't have mesquite, you weren't gonna place,
100%
in that area, So and that was something that but until you travel, and that was his big thing. He traveled to other states and did other competitions around the United States because the flavor profiles changed so much that he wanted to really get an idea of how that flavor really is in that area, And that's really smart what you're doing.
Funny story is, I've got a kid that's a Texas transplant, Kansas City, grew up Kansas City, and he cooks briskets he's my brisket cook on one of the teams. And when we were first starting out, he's like, "Oh, I've got the recipe. I've got my Kansas City brisket. This is what this is going to do. This is it." And I'm like, okay, this is what you need to do, but I want you to do your thing, because I don't want to just sit there and y'all be machines and robots. If you got something, let's try it. See what we think. So we get to the first competition that's up in Graham, and he goes all out with his Kansas City brisket, and the brisket that I had my other kid make got first place, and his, I think, got 7th or 9th. And he said, "Coach Hill, I'm going to eat a little bit of crow here." Can you teach me how to make that brisket? Because you told me Kansas City probably wouldn't work here, and you were right. So do you mind if I use that recipe too? And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did he get to try the other recipe and for himself to see the difference?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And, but it was just, I mean, his brisket wasn't bad. It was good.
Yeah.
It's just not Texas barbecue. I mean, it just wasn't that. And it was not bad. It was good. It just wasn't what they were looking for. And so he's like, I'm on board now with this Texas stuff.
Right. You're cooking for the judges.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So another question from Janet. This is her other one. Do you have a special place that you guys are buying your meat? You guys go to the same place? I guess you guys aren't really having to buy it for these things.
Yeah, I think they're providing them at the competitions.
So it's provided at the competition, but any practice cook is either coming out of my personal pocket or through Texas Moonswiners. I sponsor them, so it's just one of those deals that I can put my name on the shirt. So I'm gonna bring some briskets or some chicken or whatever we need, or if we need something while we're out there, I'll just buy it and I put it on on my tab. But here in Rockwall, we have a Costco that's right next to the school, and so it's pretty easy just to run over there and grab something. We have a place in Royce City called Joe's Meat Market, and the guy that owns the place, his name is Gabriel. Really awesome dude. He's been involved in a lot of charity stuff through donating meat for barbecue cook-offs for benefits and trying to raise money and stuff. And I've got 2 seniors that we're taking to the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo at the end of this month to compete. Just the seniors are going to compete for a $20,000 scholarship, and he sponsored both of those seniors, so they don't have to pay anything out of pocket to go down there because he took care of it. And so we get meat from him as well. But just I try to find the local places if I can, but in a pinch, I guess I pay $5 a pound, which now it was $5.69 a pound. Oh man! Just this week.
Jeez Louise. Let me ask you a question. I know here, and if you don't mind or whatever else, is this y'all's organization? Is this something outside people can help donate to? Do you have like not a GoFundMe, but do you have something? Do you have your own personal website for y'all's school? If our listeners want to say, hey, listen, we want to help donate some money or something to y'all's team, is that something that you have together, or is that
Absolutely.
possible?
So typically at the beginning of the year, I reach out and have the kids reach out to businesses in the area. And we have like a sponsorship or partnership form where we have different levels where if you donate $300, then we're going to mention your name on our website. If you donate $600, then we'll put your name on our banner that we put up. If you donate $1,000, then you're on the banner, the t-shirts, the website. And then if you donate like $2,000, then you're a platinum sponsor. We got lucky, just a happen chance, and got hooked up with Dalstrong, this year. And they've sent us thousands of dollars in knives and cutlery and aprons, and have really taken care of us in the way of our needs for equipment to use. But last year we had a company that does like the halftime shows for the Dallas Cowboys. They donated a couple $1,000s, and that paid for most of all expenses for the year. So it's not just limited to the beginning of the year. If anybody wants to reach out to me, they're more than welcome to, and I can get them a form, and then that goes to the school. So it's a tax write-off for their business. I know we kind of missed the end of the year type deal for last year, but be a great way to have a write-off for your business if you wanted to. And, we'll throw your name out on social media. Only thing about it is, it's a school, so liquor stores, beer stores, gun armories, they can't be a sponsor. But if you really just want to help the kids, and it's not about getting your name out there too, we've had people that, aside from their business, have just made the donations, and just as hey, don't need the recognition, just here's some $600, thank you, and that's it.
Good. What's your social media that people can?
So you can check Texas Moonswiners is just Texas Moonswiners. The 205 Pitmasters is on Facebook as well as 205 Pitmasters. If anybody wanted to contact me directly, you could shoot me an email, and it's super easy. Sean, SEAN .Hill, HILL @rockwallisd.org. And I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you too. And we've already, like I said, we've already got our shirts and our banner for this year, but going forward, or shout outs on social media, pictures, we sign a signed picture of the kids, with our trophies when we win state, whatever we can do, as a thank you back to you, we can do that as well.
Very good.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah, man. I wish you luck, man. I think it's something really cool that you're doing. I've got to get some teachers involved with this in Pearland. I don't think Pearland has this.
And I've had three school districts that have reached out to me, just because of like North Texas barbecue addicts. Somebody will post a question, and then my name gets tagged in the post, and hey, talk to Sean. He can help you. And so I've been in contact with about 3 or 4 schools and kind of gave them the information and stuff too. So I mean, I don't mind. I'll be more than happy. The more people that we can get involved in this means the more kids are going to learn how to barbecue. Oh, yeah. And that's the really cool thing. And I mean, I don't teach for the money, and so I do this because I want to kind of leave an imprint on the world. And my thing is barbecue, and this is what a cool way to be remembered. What a cool job to have. I go to work and I teach kids how to cook. I mean, yeah. I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world.
Like, great, more people out there just to kick my butt and barbecue.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, if you're not breeding competition, that's what you're competing against. You want to be the best, right? And I love how barbecue is always changing and it's evolving, and the flavor profiles are evolving every 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Something different's being spun out there, and
it's one of the fastest growing sports.
It is
in America,
and you can get in front of it. And I love being a trendsetter with certain items, and I do push the envelope a lot, and try to, especially maybe on the heat profile, which I've been known to really heat it up on some of these seasonings, and other ones we pull back on. But the sweetness that's come forward a lot. You've gotten, and you used to be a real savory, but you are getting a lot of the sweetness now, with in all 3 categories across the thing. Yep. So I love the fact this thing's constantly evolving. And you know what? With these kids coming in, it's amazing how easily they pick it up, and they become really barbecue pit masters. And it's something you're honing. You're like, how are you this good this quick?
Well, because they don't drink. That's why they get so good at it. So
that's exactly what it is.
Right. Yeah, that's something that we actually, as a team, we looked at, and that we may have a few beers, on a Friday night or whatever, a couple of beers. And when I say a couple of beers, but really it's business. And then really Saturday is all competition. It's one of those things we looked at each other and like, if we want to be successful, you can't drink. That's
you
just
can't. No, it's so hard, and it's easy to get wrapped up into it because you're depending on what you have as your setup, you're going against guys that have those Old Hickory or the Traeger or the whatever, where they don't have to do anything and they can just sleep.
That's right.
And if you've got a traditional stick burner and you spend all night, having a good time, and then you're trying to think, to process, information, and we've messed up food before because we weren't thinking correctly and pulling stuff out at the wrong times, and then it already we pulled out a pork shoulder and pulled the pork shoulder an hour before turn in.
Yep.
Because we weren't thinking about the times the right way, and so then it had to be put back into the Cambro and just sit, and it wasn't near as good as it would have been if we were thinking right. So you're 100% right. It is a business trip, and that's what I tell the kids too. I'm like, guys, when we go in, we're going to have curfew check. Go to sleep. Don't stay up all night being dumb.
Yeah.
Go to sleep because we got to wake up early in the morning and we got a job to do.
That's right.
And then once the job is done and once it's through, then we can have some fun. But until then, just give me 24 hours of this is what I've got to do and this is what I'm going to do, and then we'll have a great time.
Oh yeah, and winning's contagious.
Winning's fun.
Yeah, it is fun, but it's contagious, and that's what keeps you coming back, right? A little taste of
Right.
winning, and they're like, you know what? When's the next competition? When are we doing this next time? So,
Yep.
very cool, man.
Hey, Sean, we definitely appreciate all that you do to support the sport of barbecue and to teach, educate, and mentor the younger generation coming up. Definitely appreciate you being on the Grabbing the Brisket podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all. This is awesome.
We're going to open it up to you. So any information that you want to put out there as far as websites or social medias or who people need to contact to get their district involved with something like this.
Absolutely. So check out our page on Facebook for the kids page. It's 205 Pitmasters. And, you can kind of see some of the stuff that we're doing and, how we go about our practice and stuff. And also, we're going to be down at the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. That is January 28th and 29th. And this is just a 50 high school teams that are going to be competing for a winner take all $20,000 scholarship. Come out and support us in San Antonio at the end of this month. We'll be in Katy March 11th and 12th. So on the 12th, come down to Katy, Texas. All that information about the actual physical location stuff will be on the website, or you can go to texashsbbq.org and check out the league page, and it has all the schedules as well. And then state's going to be down at Dell Diamond in Round Rock, Texas on April 29th and 30th at the end of the month. And there should be 150 teams plus that are going to be out there. And come and support the kids. Come and try competition barbecue. Be a judge. Taste some of it. See how it's a little bit different than what you make in your backyard. And you'd be surprised. I mean, some of these kids are cooking better barbecue than most of the barbecue joints that you're going to have around your house. And it's just fun to see a different type of sport that's not in a stadium and not your typical, football, basketball, or baseball. And these kids are working hard and they're having to work as a team. And if you do have any other questions, or if you're a teacher and you're out there listening, or even just a community member and you want to get more information on how to get something started for your school, please reach out to me. Again, it's just Sean, SEAN.Hill, HILL at rockwellisd.org. And I'll be more than happy to tell you everything I know and help get you started. And, depending on where you're at, I don't even mind taking a day off and coming out and showing you our pit, bringing the pit, showing you the pit, or telling you what we've got and helping you get set up. Anything I can do to help to grow the program, grow the sport, and get another team in, I'm down for that.
Cool.
That is awesome.
Cool, man. We wish you luck. Wish the luck to the 205. The 205 gang. What is it? 205
Smoke and Fire.
Pitmasters.
Yeah, Pitmasters. Team Smoke
Team
and
Smoke and Team Fire.
Yeah, very cool, man.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you getting this out there to people that probably never heard about it before, and hopefully this will catch somebody's ear, and maybe in Pearland we can get something started down there.
Heck yeah.
I love it. Hey, take care, Sean.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Hey,
Dude, that's fantastic.
yeah,
I
Sean
love
is
that.
so cool.
Sean is his energy is really infectious, and you can tell somebody that's really giving back. That's what he's doing. He's volunteering his time, giving back. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, I'm just going to send some
It's
money
all for
to
the
this
kids.
guy.
Yeah.
Just like, hey,
I almost asked him barbecue fails. But
Wait, no,
I
hey,
mean,
we should have asked him that. I told
we'll-
him we were
we'll
going to
get him
ask
back
him
on.
that.
why
I
didn't you get
forgot.
into it, James?
we'll get him back on and
can't.
we'll ask.
You can't. Why? If you're like, I almost did something and you didn't do it.
I know,
it's like,
but I wasn't trying to throw any
I don't
kids
know
under
what
the
that-
bus when they ruined an $80 brisket by
we're not naming names. James.
Little Billy.
We didn't ask whether it was
Timmy.
Team Fire or Team Smoke. We just,
Yeah, next time.
Hey,
we'll have Sean back on next.
yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, I could actually see. I could see him being like a, next year, like, hey, how did it go? What happened? And I'm obviously going to be, following them now and and seeing all their success. So,
they're having a cook-off in Katy. That's not that far.
I know.
away.
I was thinking I may go out there.
Yeah.
Just make a
Apparently, there
people.
won't be any beer.
That's fine.
Is it?
Yeah, I can pregame. No, I don't. Listen, this is the future of barbecue, man. This is the kids coming up that's going to be we're competing against. You know what? Here's the deal. They're rookies. Their rookie year when they're actually adults, they're going to be boozing it up. And guess what? We're not.
Right. They're not going to know any better yet.
They're not going to know any better. You
Right.
got to go through all those stages, and we went through those drinking stages, so we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
We're all business. We're business in front, party in the back.
Exactly.
You see their teams roll up, you to send each team a case of beer.
Yeah. Hey,
We're good.
good luck, guys. Here's a case of beer on us.
Hey, Alex, you're here. You might as well go and pop in and say hello.
Alex.
Yeah, sorry I was late.
There you are.
Work ran late. So
Work, schmirk.
Chugga chugga choo choo.
Yeah, thank you to Sean Hill for taking time out of his, I'm sure it's a busy schedule, to sit around and talk barbecue with us and let us know what he's up to. Slide over there to grabbingthebrisket.com. You can find out what we're up to.
What are we up to
these
James?
days?
What are we up to?
I mean, we're just
Let me tell you what we haven't been doing.
what?
We haven't been podcasting.
No, we've had a lot of stuff going on.
Can you imagine? Think about this. COVID has been rampant, right? It's crazy. Christmas came. I think we haven't seen y'all. We haven't done this since Christmas.
Yeah, it's been a minute. That as he just coughs, the
It's no. I got something in my throat.
Amarion
a frog.
variant has just been running rampant all
Super Mario?
across. Yep, Super Mario variant
Okay.
has just been running rampant.
But yeah, go to the
everywhere.
website.
Anyways, go to the website. A lot of links to the merch, links to our social media pages. We do a lot of
Some recipes on there.
videos, recipes.
Yep.
We got a new Patreon episode just came out today, so if you haven't seen that one or heard that one, go check it out.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then, what's the latest recipe we put out there? What was the last one we put out there? Do you know?
The latest what?
The last recipe we put out there?
I believe it was a chili recipe from Matt.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, check that out. I actually had some of that. He brought it over. Let us try it. It's one of the few things Matt's made that he actually brought it over and allowed us to try. Usually he'll cook over here, and then we're like, oh man, that food looks really good, Matt. That's a good recipe. But then he just disappears with it. He takes it back to his house.
It's from my family.
That's right. This is my family's food.
You get 2 bites here.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a couple of spoons.
Share amongst yourselves.
Brr. There you go.
Right. Share the same piece of meat or something. I don't know. Matt's crazy. Matt's not here, so I can say this stuff about him, and he won't listen to the episode. So,
Right.
yeah. Or will he?
No.
I'll tell him. It's
Right.
fine.
And if you get bored, hey, go check out our sponsors. Hey, those guys kick ass.
Yep. You get there's a sponsor page on our website as well. You can get a discount on a lot of different stuff. Knives and koozies and all kinds of crap. So really good stuff that we use all the freaking time. Go check it out.
Hey, you know what? I haven't said in a while. Hey, it's been great talking barbecue with you.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Dang it, Bobby. Just grab the brisket. Or we would like to give a special thanks to Fogo Premium Hardwood Lump Charcoal, Bolner's Fiesta Spices, CoolieNation Custom Koozies, Cambro Manufacturing, YETI Cooler, the Smoke Sheep Barbecue Newsletter, and Texas Brew Hopper. We appreciate their support. Y'all guys go check them out.